There's been very little scientific research in the area of reincarnation. The greatest amount of work that has been done was the legacy really left by a psychiatrist named Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia, who died in 2007. He had developed more than 2,500 cases actually, of memories that children had that could be validated by visiting the areas that they allegedly lived in a past lifetime, recognizing people and events and circumstances, and having memories that could be validated. At the same time, he also noticed in comparing photographs of the alleged previous lifetimes with the current person that there were physical features that seemed to carry forward, and that included special birthmarks and deformities even from one lifetime to another. So that's the central area of research in what I think we could call scientific research. Obviously, a lot of information has been captured from past life regression therapy sessions, from hypnotic sessions, from dreams, and so on. But all of that information is really subjective and can't be validated. So from a scientific point of view, it can be used as a clue, but it can't be used as evidence for testing a scientific theory. So what we're doing to expand that database is that we took the 2 or 3 dozen strongest cases that we could find and did a meta-analysis to determine what areas seem to match between the past life and the present life. And that has given us a model to work with, which is a model that uses the genotype features, physical features, facial biometrics, body type, the hand-finger proportions, which is part of the body structure, hair patterns, for example, several features that biometricians have demonstrated in their own research dealing with people living today are the most stable genetically. So our hypothesis is that the features that are most stable genetically in the current lifetime are likely to be the same features passed forward from a previous lifetime. And our evidence to date is supporting that notion, because the strongest cases that we've looked at, you find similarities in all of those areas, physical and personality and behavioral factors. In a variety of cases, we have looked at the various factors that we measure, the physical and the personality and the behavioral as well. And we have found some cases where you only had 1 or 2 areas of match. But we, in the model that we're using, do not consider those to be a good reincarnation match, because we have found other cases where we're talking about the possible reincarnation of a person that we know and have a lot of data on, and we have 2 or 3 current subjects who are alleged to be a reincarnation of that famous person, and we find that 1 of them has a match in all of these 5 areas, the other 2 don't. Now, we then make the assumption that we have 2 people who are part possibly of a soul cohort, or maybe they knew that person in the past life and had some information about that person, or had some resonance with that person's memories and information we have about that person. But we don't really take that as being a valid reincarnation case. The theory is, and this is what you have in psychological development theory, if you test a person on 5 different factors that are reliable among themselves, meaning that if you are strong in one factor, you're also going to be strong in that same factor. If you have the person well documented and have an accurate assessment of his personality. I'm assuming the same thing in reincarnation research. If you only have 1 feature that's the same and no other features are the same, the statistical odds of that being a match, it seems to me, are not very good. If you have good matches in all 5 areas, then it seems to me the statistical odds of that happening by random, by chance, is very small. So the assumption is that if you have matches in all areas, the statistical odds of there being a direct connection with that previous lifetime is much higher. The first group of cases that we used for the meta-analysis were cases that had already been developed by individuals themselves. This is where they had done the research, had gathered the physical data, had gathered the biographical data, and in many instances published their own books or had talked publicly about their cases. We took those cases. We looked at some of the strongest cases that had the most evidence from Ian Stevenson's legacy of over 2,500 cases, and we used some of those as part of the meta-analysis group. And then we worked up a few individual cases from people that we just had some intimations that they might be the reincarnation of a particular person. So we had those three kinds of cases. What's happened after the experiment got started and the word got out that we were doing this kind of analysis, we have more cases coming to us to analyze and to evaluate than we can possibly handle. So what we do is do a quick survey of the evidence that is available and determine whether it is something that we should spend more time and energy on. And these cases come from anywhere in the world, from Russia, from Eastern Europe, from Australia, from Canada, from the United States. And it's now with the website up and running, people access it and send us information every day. I think it's probably like any experiment that's done. When you go public, you get a full spectrum of the public's attitudes about the subject matter, whatever it is. We get people who are certain that they are the reincarnation of Marie Antoinette or Abigail Adams or Thomas Jefferson or any other, or sometimes even unknown people, but they feel so strongly about it that they challenge us to even disagree with them. And what we do is we go back and say, we're sorry, we can only take cases where people are willing to give us the empirical evidence that they have about the past life, or that we can add to from our own biographical research, or we use the internet a lot now because so much information is available on people who've lived before. But we require that people be willing to question themselves, to look at their own data, to look at the sources of their knowledge. We take the position of an intelligence officer dealing with military or political intelligence. We say sources and methods are essential to good intelligence. And so we don't take anybody's favorite psychic or anybody's favorite dream or anybody's favorite channel material. Not that we dismiss that. We are open to evidence and clues from any source, but we say we really want to then take that clue and look at your physical features. We want to look at your personality traits, and we measure all of that.